Hello and welcome to News Now. You could call this the news every Nigerian had been praying for. The Nigerian government has announced that it has agreed a ceasefire with militant Islamic sect Boko Haram and that negotiations are ongoing to free the 219 schoolgirls kidnapped by the sect back in April this year in the remote town of Chibok in northeast Borno State. Details of the negotiations are still very sketchy. Principal Private Secretary of President Goodluck Jonathan Hassan Tuko confirmed that the deal was brokered after months of negotiations with the sect. He also confirmed that the release of the Chibok girls was discussed, but did not say if any agreement was actually reached on that. But U.S. broadcaster The Voice of America is quoting the president's aide and the Boko Haram representative in the negotiations as saying the girls will be released on Monday in Chad. The head of the Nigerian Military Air Chief Marshal Alex Bade has ordered all field commanders to observe the ceasefire. He gave the directive shortly after a 3-day meeting between a delegation of the Nigerian and Cameroonian armed forces convened to strategize on further collaboration to fortify their common borders against the insurgents. Now, Boko Haram has often used remote border villages in Cameroon as launching ground for its attacks in Nigeria. People are taking the news with cautious optimism, hoping that the ceasefire holds and that the insurgency ends. The Nigerian government says over 12,000 persons have been killed since the Boko Haram insurgency began in the northeast of the country 5 years ago. Several communities have been sacked and hundreds of thousands of people displaced. Some are now refugees in neighboring countries. Well, joining me now on the phone to discuss this dramatic development is security expert Dr. Ona Ekomo. Doctor, thank you very much for joining us. Tell me just how do you feel as we speak, hearing this news?
Well, it's quite a cheering news, DG. To hear that there is some form of that is developing in terms of this very unfortunate violent episode in the country. This has been the greatest test for this country since the Civil War. Some people feel that this has been an even more grievous test than the Civil War. But having said that, I think we should really take this offer of a ceasefire from Boko Haram with a pinch of salt, because we have seen them go back on previous offers. We have seen previous offers also reneged by the leadership of Boko Haram that it wasn't duly authorized. So the question is, this Danladi Amadou guy, who is quote-unquote negotiating for Boko Haram, who is he and where does he fit in the hierarchy of the organization? Because until there is a say-so from the leadership of that very violent organization, there is no ceasefire that will be observed on their side. So I think we have to kind of factor that in and continue to proceed with cautious optimism to see what plays out before we can really say, oh yes, we've come to the end of this episode, this very sad episode in the life of this nation.
But what do you make of the Nigerian government's response? I mean, the Chief of Defense Staff ordering field commanders to maintain the ceasefire. You think it was a positive response from the Nigerian government?
Well, I think a ceasefire does not mean that this is the presence of peace. A ceasefire only means that hostilities should stop for whatever reason. Sometimes ceasefires are declared on battlefronts just so that dead bodies can be moved, just so that certain things can happen. In fact, during World War II, when there were slow blizzards, they would just declare ceasefire and enemies would start sharing secrets and laughing and joking. And then the next day, when the weather improves, they continue the fight. So a ceasefire does not mean that there is peace. The ceasefire means that there should be cessation of hostilities such that certain other processes can take place. Now, if PH is saying that they want to release the girls on Monday next week sometime as an article of good faith, well, that is very welcome. and that will in fact be a concretization of a process of dialogue that we can say is beginning at this point, but it's only beginning. This is not the end of dialogue. This is not, in fact, we've not gotten anywhere yet because there are many things yet to be sorted out. Persons whose hands have been dripping with blood, and I mean, there are so many things to be sorted out in this process. So, but the ceasefire, I think, is not saying that the war is over. It's just saying that hostilities should be terminated while other processes are in place.
Well, you're absolutely correct.
The Chief of Defense Staff that the fighting forces should hold their fire. I think it's within his authority to do, and he did the right thing.
But do you think we could be getting close to the end of this Boko Haram insurgency?
That is truly my hope, AG. I hope that we're getting close to it. I hope that this is not another tactical maneuver on their part to regroup and then unleash an even more violent episode. This is beginning to probably give credence to the speculation that Senegal may in fact be dead because we haven't heard from him. If in the next 3 days we don't hear him come out and repudiate the ceasefire, then maybe in fact something's going on.
But finally, what exactly would you be saying to the military at this moment? What do you think it should be doing other than maintaining the ceasefire?
The military should continue all their tactical plans. They should keep their guns well oiled. They should be ready to engage. Nobody should let their guards down because I believe Boko Haram will be highest level of suspicion because they have never shown that they were people to be trusted. And I think this is a very big pinch of salt, really. So I think the military should be ready to engage any moment because, it's only entering another phase. This does not fit it doesn't fit the image that normally goes with groups of this nature. They do not just get to a point and then lay down their arms and say, let's do ceasefire. Groups that are born out of religious fundamentalism, religious fervor, they have to be defeated roundly in battle before they give up. So you can see Al-Qaeda. America has been fighting Al-Qaeda for so many years. And they haven't been defeated yet. So, and these guys, they are an offshoot of Al-Qaeda. So it doesn't fit the normal mood of what these kinds of guys do. But I do hope that maybe the Nigerian variant is a different variant, and that these guys are really ready to lay down their arms and stop killing.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Komo, for joining us on the program.
Thank you, Mr. David.
Well, I've been speaking to Dr. Onai Komo, who is a security expert and, of course, has been sharing his thoughts on the ceasefire declared actually by the Nigerian government and Boko Haram. Let's turn to other stories now. Nigeria's electoral body, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, says it will resume distribution of permanent voters' cards in 13 states of the Federation between November 7th and 9th. The states are Adamawa, Borno, Edo, Imo, Kaduna, Kano, Katsina, Lagos, Nasarawa, Niger, Ogun, Plateau, and Rivers states. INEC in a statement Friday said it would also begin the third phase of the continuous voter registration in the states to run from November 13 to 17. The first and second phases of the exercise had been conducted earlier in 21 states, including the Federal Capital Territory of the Federation. The Commission advised voters in the states to check their names in the displayed voters' registers. Only those with permanent voters' cards would be allowed to vote during the 2015 general elections. Now, former Minister of Commerce Mustapha Bello has joined the governorship race in Niger State. Bello, who officially declared his intention to run in Minna, the Niger State capital, would be contesting under the platform of the People's Democratic Party. He says if he is elected governor of the state, he would see to the development of the power sector in that state and ensure that the dividends of democracy gets to the people. Bello was at one time the former executive director of Nigeria Investment Promotion Commission, NIPC. He was also a senatorial candidate for Niger North Senatorial District in 1998 during the planned transition to civilian rule under General Sani Abacha. Now, as Nigeria's main opposition party, the All Progressives Congress, gets ready for its presidential primaries, there are fears if the party does not handle the process transparently, it could lead to internal crisis. The main reason for this fear is because of the number and quality of aspirants that are actually jostling for the party's presidential ticket. The two main frontrunners for now are former head of state Muhammadu Buhari and former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. Now, I asked political analyst and lawyer Godi Wazurike how he thinks the presidential primaries will play out when he appeared as a guest on our news and current affairs program, TV360. Here is his analysis.
APC, like I've always described it, is an amalgamation of strange bedfellows. That one has come to be. Then the next question is this: those coming from PDP, those coming from CPC, and those coming from ACN, and those who claim to own the party. So I don't see a crisis-free convention coming up. No, definitely it will be a battle royale. You noticed the high presence of the leadership of APC when Buhari...
Yes, I was just going to say that. Is that not a clear pointer as to where the party might be going as far as its presidential candidate is concerned? Because to have such a huge number of the party leadership at the declaration ceremony now of former head of state General Buhari, most people would say, well, that's a clear pointer that the APC might be considering giving its ticket to the former head of state.
And in terms of strategy, I think it was a wrong strategy. If they had wanted to come, they would have gone to Atiku's own declaration also and say we are free-minded, we are independent, but they have decided to show their preference early. The wife of the leader of the party was there. The governors were there, yet none of them showed up in Atiku's own. And I know Atiku is a man full of money. He has a lot of money to give a real fight. So APC must be ready for a dirty fight.
Now, Nigeria's House of Representatives has voted to remove the immunity clause from the country's constitution. What this means is that the president or governors could be prosecuted for any criminal offense while they are in office. The vote will need to be approved by the Senate and the state houses of assembly across the country before it could become law. I asked both Nelson Ekujimi and Godi Wazurike, who both appeared on TV360, what their take is on the move.
For me, it's a distraction because I think we should be more concerned about building institutions. We should be more concerned about a judicial system of government, a judicial arm of government that will be very, very effective and efficient. We should be more concerned about the legislature performing its constitutional functions. Mind you, even with the immunity clause, the Constitution still allows the legislature to impeach a serving officer if he is found guilty of gross misconduct. So if these things are in place and the legislature can perform its functions the way it's supposed to be, there will be no need for us bothering about immunity or no immunity clause. Because if a governor, even if he has immunity clause, if he's impeached for misconduct, for abuse of office, it means he's liable to stand trial. But what do we have? Even when people who are not in office commit crime in the land without immunity clause, nothing happens at the end of the day.
I'm surprised that the House has gone even further to include the president and deputy president. If we remove them, for the president and deputy president, who decides who is to arrest who? In other words, Mr. President, through his office, appoints the Inspector General of Police subject to confirmation. He turns around as he's walking towards his car, he's arrested. It doesn't make sense. Immunity for presidents all over the world, they should remain. If there are procedures for removal or for stripping of immunity, you also streamline them, you state them. That's what we have in some countries. But blanket removal is never allowed anywhere. But in Nigeria, I think they have gone whole hog. Removing of immunity for Mr. President is definitely wrong.
Well, we'll take a short break now. When we come back, News Now continues. Don't go away.
The search for the next Nigerian Investigative Reporter of the Year is on. The Wole Soyinka Center for Investigative Journalism, WSCIJ, requests entries for the 9th Wole Soyinka Award for Investigative Reporting from Nigerian professional reporters with investigative reports published between 4th October 2013 and 3rd October 2014. Categories: print, radio, online, local government, sports, television, photography, climate change, cartoon, health, and report women. Do you fit the bill? Submit your entries by the deadline Friday, 24th October 2014 at the WSCIJ office, 55 Awolowo Way, Ikeja, Lagos. Visit www.wscij.org or call 080-2439-5083 for more details. Investigative reporting is the vital force for the restoration of human dignity.
Welcome back. Now to business. 24 companies have been blacklisted by the Nigeria's Bank of Industry for allegedly failing to repay loans granted to them. Managing Director of the bank, Rashid Olaoluwa, announced this Friday in Lagos during the induction ceremony of 10 customers into its Hall of Fame. Olaoluwa alleged that the blacklisted companies were also involved in shady deals. He said the companies had actually cloned and falsified documents and diverted loans to non-profitable ventures. He said the companies have been identified, adding that they will actually experience the ignominy of belonging to the bank's Hall of Shame. He said their names have also been published on the website of the bank. Senegal has become officially free of Ebola following the completion of the 42-day benchmark without any new cases of the disease, the World Health Organization said Friday. Now, WHO made the declaration in a statement and commended the country on its steadfastness in effectively ridding the country of the virus. The UN Health Agency Wednesday had said the move became imperative because 42 days from the time when the last person with high-risk exposure tests negative for the virus would give sufficient confidence to declare an outbreak over in any country. Now, the 42-day period is actually twice the generally accepted maximum incubation period of the virus, though WHO says some incubation periods could be longer. Meanwhile, Nigeria is due to be declared Ebola-free on Monday, the WHO has said. Ebola has killed more than 4,000 people in this current outbreak. Countries worst hit by the virus include Liberia, Sierra Leone, and Guinea. 5 international airports in the United States of America have initiated Ebola screening on passengers arriving from Guinea, Liberia, and Sierra Leone, an official of the White House said Friday. The screening is said to have begun Thursday in Chicago, Atlanta, Newark, New Jersey, and Dulles International Airport outside Washington. The screening is expected to commence at New York's JFK International Airport on Saturday. According to the official, the measure had become pertinent because it was estimated that between 100 and 150 travelers flew into the U.S. from West Africa on a daily basis. Paralympic gold medalist and Olympic sprinter Oscar Pistorius will find out on Tuesday if he would be going to jail for killing his girlfriend River Steenkamp. He was found not guilty of premeditated murder regarding the shooting death of his model girlfriend. However, South African judge Thokozile Masipa did declare him guilty of culpable homicide, which is the unlawful negligent killing of a human being, according to the South African Supreme Court of Appeal. Basically, Pistorius was found guilty of killing Steenkamp without direct intent to do so through negligence. The state has requested the North Gauteng High Court in Pretoria to impose a 10-year prison term for Oscar Pistorius. Prosecutor Harry Nell says 10 years should be the minimum for the culpable homicide conviction. The judge will give a verdict on Tuesday. Incumbent president of the Actors Guild of Nigeria, Binabo Fibarasima, has been re-elected for a second term in office. She emerged unopposed on Thursday at a special convention by delegates in Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory. Fibarasima, who was immediately sworn in, along with other officials of the Guild, promised to justify the confidence reposed on her and lead the AGN to greater heights. The mother of 5 was a former senior special advisor to the president. She was also a former beauty queen, an actress, and a producer. Well, everything combined in one. Let's turn to sports now. Nigeria Super Falcons today beat host Namibia 2-0 in the African Women's Championship. The Nigerians' first goal came in the 35th minute of the game. A free kick at the edge of the box was converted by left back Gloria Ofoegbu with a left-footed back kick that sailed into the net. The Falcons have now recorded 3 wins in 3 matches at the ongoing tournament to top their group. They will play Group B's second-place team on Wednesday at the Samuel Nujoma Stadium. But the Nigerians would have to wait till Saturday to find out their opponent. I have no doubt at all in the ability of the Falcons. We just hope, really hope, that our Super Eagles can emulate the Falcons. But some guys will tell you, well, that male football is a different ballgame. But then let the Super Eagles just try to emulate these guys. That's it on news now. We thank you very much for watching. We're back again shortly.